Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 11 kilometers per second, where we try to inform you about the different things that hold you down and that keep you from rising and soaring into the heavens. In other words, in order for you to reach your potential, in order for you to escape velocity. 11 kilometers is the escape velocity. If you haven't seen this episode before, we go into a little bit more. You haven't seen an episode before. We go into a little bit more on all the different things that hold you down. But the two main things that we focus on is fear of judgment from others and our natural inclination towards not expending too much energy, aka we are lazy naturally, and it's for our survival, but not for us to thrive. Okay, so before I get started, you will see here that I have a new headpiece alert. I was really, if you're watching instead of just, listening, if you are listening, you should go over to the YouTube piece, because this hat is fly as shit. So, I found, I don't know exactly, Instagram does a really good job. And so one of the things that I do, one of the many things that I do is I go on tangents. All right. But this tangent is good. So one of the things that I do is I do ads. I do an ad campaign, digital ad campaigns for my clients. It's what I believe is the best way to get your leads, and you need your leads to get your sales, and you need your sales if you're going to make money. So in any case, Instagram does a really good job of putting in front of your face the things that you might like. And so I see a whole bunch of different things. I don't know how I stumbled upon this dude, but I'm gonna tell you, man, after I got this hat, I was really hesitant on telling anybody where I got it from, because I'm like, yo, I don't want anybody else rocking this. When I have this, it's going to be one of one. And it is going to be one of one, because this is custom made. And so I am deciding to go in the spirit of abundance and and tell everybody where this is from. His name is Allah Hancha Hat. And he goes by the name of La Sombra, which I believe means the hat. I should have looked that up. But in any case, this hat is so fly. I don't even know if it's registering the way that it's coming out. But let me show you a couple of things about this freaking hat before we go forward. All right, first and foremost, so I typically wore, and this might be my new headgear going forward. I typically wore the Sacramento Kings hat, a black and white hat with like the lion in the front. You'll see in other videos, and then it has the word Kings on the side. And so this one, first and foremost, so the hat is actually, it's called Dead Jack. He has a line of death hats, and you're gonna see why. It's called Dead Jack, and so it's typically the card that he puts on there is the jack, the jack in cards, right? And when he made this for me, this is the 6th version of this type of hat that he made. This is why you have a 6 on this side. And when he made this for me, he made the king. So it just was appropriate in so many different reasons, but it works also because I still get to maintain the king. And so you'll see here that it is not J or the Jack, it's the king. So I get to wear the king. A couple of things other than that too, and this is why I said it's the Death series. So he has the skull on the top. Super fucking fly, bro. And then, such craftsmanship. And this is what we're talking about, bro. If this guy does not blow up, I don't know what the heck is going on in this world, because the craftsmanship is impeccable. And this is what we got to aim for. And this is fly as shit. In any case, this is completely off of what I want to talk about right now, but I got the hat. I've been eyeing it, got it, and now I wanted to share it and wear it. And so here we go. Now, what do I want to talk about today? I don't know what I'm going to title it. I'm going to speak from my heart, and this is what I always do. I'm on a journey, and I invite you to join me on this journey. I want us all to get there. What I say, a couple of things I feel like I want to try to do. I want to try to understand and define genius, and I want to help, particularly people in the Black community, if they can find their genius. And I think it's within you. You just gotta, go out and hone it. So not necessarily find it, but I want to help you to do the things that will help you to continue to hone it. to escape the things that hold you back from honing it. And then I want to help you to scale it. So this is where the digital marketing comes from, because it's one thing to talk about the things that hold you down and, self-development, because those things are necessary to succeed. But it's another thing to just be good and not necessarily get back in return the medium of exchange that we are using for value, that we are putting out into the world and returning, because that medium of exchange allows us to more easily facilitate exchange, the things that we need in return, instead of a bartering system. You listen to my podcast and hopefully you like it. Then as a result, it grows. And so you're not necessarily giving me any money at the time, but as a result, it grows. And so what happens eventually is maybe I can monetize it with YouTube. They pay me as a result, because they then do this whole bunch of exchange, and they give me money. And instead, why go out? Instead of me going out to barter with the person I want something from, I'll, use that medium of exchange. It's just values being exchanged. And I just want to quickly say this, because this was a thought that I had, and I don't know if I'll have another opportunity to say it. So while it's in my mind, one of the things that I want to say about why value is very important, like giving value, adding value, as opposed to, like, a lot of us are looking for, to take, give me money now, give me, like, if I'm giving you this, you got to do that. I was talking to a guy, I'm doing my networking, lead generation, all that good stuff, talking to a guy, he has a product out, and, he had been in prison and he got out, did his entrepreneurship stuff. And I was like, yo, this story is powerful. Yo, I'd love to have you sit down. And the first thing he said, well, if the bag is right. I was like, oh man, I ain't in a position to be paying. And I don't know if that is the right practice to begin with. But I was like, man, you jumping right to the bag. And it's like, you don't understand that you have to add value first before people are just willing to just pay you. And so here's how I think of value. Like if a dollar, like let's just use some examples. Like if what I'm doing right now, if a dollar is like, when you actually start, let's just start from the basic unit, even though nobody uses pennies anymore, the basic unit of the American currency that you can actually use, physically is the penny. All right. So let's just say, I want to get a penny for these videos that I am putting out. And so let's say that maybe each video is worth, at this point, because I haven't added and accumulated the credit and the credibility with my audience yet, it's worth at this point 0.0001 or something like that. So I don't know how many zeros that is, but let's say it's worth that. They say actually, in order for you to be amongst the top 10 of podcasters, you have to just do 21 episodes, because nobody actually really lasts that long. And so I don't know if this is considered a podcast, because I don't have any, I don't have guests. But that's what Alex Hormozy says. I haven't, checked that information, but I tend to think Alex Hormozy does not say things that he himself hasn't researched, but who knows? In any case, so I don't know if this is considered a podcast, because I don't do interviews. I'm just here sharing my thoughts. But I say this because, the 21 number, maybe you can divide that by, whatever the penny would be in order to come up with the number that would actually give me a penny. If you're thinking math, cool. If not, don't even worry about it. But let's say it's just worth 0.0001. And so, I have to continue to add value where every time I go in, I'm adding 0.001, and then I do enough such that now I get to the point where I actually get a penny. And so people, if you think about it that way, you are accumulating monetary value. Is just not something that you can see yet. A lot of times people don't even think about it that way. And so therefore, this is why they stop doing it. It's like, I don't see the money right away. And so therefore it's nothing. But if I keep accumulating that 0.01, 0.01, 0.01, eventually that is the value that I've now accumulated, such that I put something out this is exactly what brand is. This is why Kanye West could just put something out and get money. It's like he has to be out there putting in that 0.0001 over and over and over until it accumulates and he builds that. So you got to think about it that way. There is value that, in essence, what I'm trying to say is there is nothing that you give that you don't get back in return. You just don't see it yet. And therefore, if you stop, you will not accumulate enough for it to mean anything. Okay, so I just want to say that I might actually have another episode where I talk about value and put more things associated with that into it. But I just wanted to have that because there was a thought in my mind, and if I never got to it, then it would never be said. Make sure it comes out. And so what do I want to talk about? What I want to talk about is, more of why we do what we do, but from, gender perspective, male versus female, because, this is a thing that is big in our community right now. And by our community, I mean Black community. I see it. I'm on Instagram. I'm on, the shade rooms and everything like that. And I see these people. You have the passport boys. You have women who are like out here, like talking about, we talked about this. In fact, we talked about it in the episode is, forget the name that I called it, but I'll link it to this one. That's the one I'm going to link it to, about what Black men have to deal with. Something to that effect, I think, was the title. And so we talked about this, but I want to delve into a little bit more. And I started thinking about this because whenever I met with a situation, I'm like, why? I keep on asking the why so I can pull the thread because I want to understand and know it. And so I was at an event. So I'm looking for Black entrepreneurs. This is my ideal client. And so I did a search for all events for businesses in my area that were, Black. And so I saw one, and it was in the traveling business. And I was, I didn't know exactly what it was. I know that I didn't want to get into the traveling business, but I was like, okay, business owners, let me see. I'll just show up and see what can become of it. And I showed up, and ultimately it was like, like a travel agent type of situation where it's like a multi-level marketing. So that means, if you're not familiar with multi-level marketing, or some people call it network marketing, essentially it's like becoming a company's sales arm and allowing the salespeople to organically by themselves create or recruit other sales members. And they do this by, giving percentages of the sale all the way up. That's why they call it multi-level, all the way up. It's like a pyramid. I might try to find a illustration of that so you can see it if you're not familiar. I mean, Amway, prepaid legal. You probably have been approached by a member of your family. If not, you have probably approached a member of your family for one level, multi-level marketing, system where, they just told you all the opportunities and that are out there. And, I've tried it. I was in prepaid legal. I feel like I was in something else, but there's no knock of it because it's entrepreneurship. That's what it is. And that's why, like, a lot of people think, because the thing is, they sell it so hard as here's your get rich quick scheme. A lot of people don't see it as a true entrepreneurship, and it's hard. Entrepreneurship is hard. You got to actually, this is why they do a lot of self-development with respect to it. And, this is why their business model essentially is get as many people as we can as in the sales team. And some of them are going to rise up, which is actually true. For me, it's good to develop team building skills, leadership, and sales. Very, very important in business, but it's not something that I would stick to because you're ultimately doing it for another company and you can be that company. So ultimately, why wouldn't I just start my own travel agency and try to get, salespeople. Like maybe I would start my own multi-level marketing system and do it that way as opposed to doing it for another company. That wasn't the reason why I stopped before. The reason why I stopped before is because I didn't understand. I didn't understand the necessity of sales as much as I should have, and I didn't truly believe, I don't know, in whatever the hell I was selling. And so, like everything, like you're waiting, you're looking for that immediate gratification. Like, I need that money today, not whenever it is that I struggle through it. And that's what a lot of us do. But, I don't think that was for me anyways. But essentially, like, you can decide this is what you're going to do and become really good at it and make a lot of money. A lot of people have. So I just wanted to say that piece. But so what happened is it was a husband and wife team that was holding like a they called it a tour, but essentially it's like they're going around, I guess, wherever their teams are and just promoting it. And they put out the thing on Eventbrite, which is where I found them. And, people show up who are interested, but I feel like a lot of the people there were already team members. In any case, let's just get into it. What was happening is the lady, the wife, and no disrespect to her, because I know she's a hardworking woman, as so many of our Black women are, bro. Like hands down and hats off, to our Black women, because they have to freaking go out and do it. So, but like, she was just kind of being disparaging to the dude, in a way that I felt like, yo, why are you doing that, bro? Like, the room was majority women. And so this is probably something that she has done before. And like, he probably is like, okay, I'm cool with it. I don't care. I don't want these women anyway. And, I'm going to do whatever for my wife and that sort of thing. But I was there cringing because I'm like, I think I was the only man. There was a couple other dudes, but they were on the team and stuff like that. And so they probably heard this shit before. But I was like, man, I was cringing for him because it was like, bro, like, there's a lot of things, and this is what I want to talk about, a lot of things we can learn from our women and a lot of things that we need to do better. But, we are out here in the same fight. This is why I'm trying to like make women, we're out here in the same fight. We're trying to make it, and like it does not help to take us down, although sometimes it does help to push us. And so trying to find that balance is difficult. I grant it. I get it. Trying to find a balance of how to push us and motivate in a way that may seem harsh. That tough love thing is difficult, but it was kind of like, bro, I think you need to recognize that the difficulties that are there. The guy actually still works. And my assumption, because I don't know exactly what it is, my assumption, because he did mention how, she worked before and she quit her job. And, because she was traveling back and forth, it was like 3-hour commute or something like that. And this is something that I am well familiar with. My wife did the same thing. She worked for Accenture, and it wasn't 3-hour commute, but like driving to and from DC to where we live in Rockville is like, it's a commute. And so I'm familiar with that. And like, it does definitely take a toll. And she essentially did the same thing and quit. And it's like, yo, the stories were very parallel. But let's be clear, the man is holding it down while you're trying to build this business. And this is not to say that this hasn't been brought up in their conversations, because I'm sure it has. I know it has in ours. Not only is he holding it down while working, but also he jumps in. He was at the event talking, very charismatic, not articulate. He was articulate, but it was more like definitely charismatic. It's just well spoken in a way that I call poetic. Like, in fact, this dude, if he doesn't have a YouTube channel, he should. I'm gonna see if I can send him this thing, because I think I'm trying to help out our brothers, and we should definitely link. I sent them a follow-up email. I haven't heard anything back, and so one of the things that you gotta do is follow up. But in any case, I'm sure that she has recognized this in the past and all this good stuff. And I also know that the frustration of having to deal with this is tough too, but women are much more able. Let's imagine that the tables were flipped. Right? Like the tables are flipped. He decides, I'm going to quit my job. You keep holding your job down, and then come in and help me. The idea that he would be able to be like, but I'm doing all of this stuff, and where are you? Like, that wouldn't happen, because we're just that's what is expected for a man. Like, you're not necessarily human. Having to deal with all the struggles that the world offers that, the women clearly have to deal with. But you're the man, and the man goes out and does these things. And so therefore, I get to say, you have not done it. You've not done it. So when are you going to freaking do it? And so the issue is that there are two sets of men that are emerging out, right? There are ones who are like, man, these women, they're asking for all of this stuff. And it's like, you're ungrateful. Not necessarily even that as the argument, but like, they're just pushing back. It's like, yo, we need support too, which I agree with. In fact, I'm pushing towards, but more than anything, it's like the reaction is to then attack the women and, say they are asking for too much. And the issue that I have with that, so I agree that the women should be looking at their man and saying, yo, as they have in the beginning, because I think a lot of that happens in the beginning, because this is what I believe happens. The women, and this is why I tell my daughters to go look for a man for whom you see the king in him and that potential, and you help him to do it. And I think women, and they'll readily admit this too, they're the supporters. That's the role that they see themselves in. Society has put them in that role. Even though they're very ambitious, they are put in the role of supporters. They also want and search for a man who can become that king. So you see the king, because that's in essence an accessory, like a bag. It's like, I get to go and show my status by the bag that I have, the shoes that I wear, but also that I have a man who is loyal, who is making that dough, who is handling shit. That's an accessory. That now is part of what says I am the shit. I'm worthy, right? This is the things that we have put on the different value scales, and says, as a human being living in this world, as a woman rather, living in this world, if you got these things, you got the wife, you got the kids, you got the house, you got the man who's doing all of it, boom, status. Bang, you got it all. And so that's what the aspiration is for a lot of women. And so that's exactly why they're saying you haven't done it, and men have accepted that, right? If you are a man who said, yo, I am going to become a kept man. I'm going to find me a cougar. I'm going to live with them. I'm going to go out and be a pimp. Not even, because a pimp sees themselves as working, even though they're exploiting women to get that money. But they see themselves as working. But so like, if you are the person who is like, yo, I'm just going to go in and like, in that, listen, there is nobody who creates any rules. We are the ones creating them. Okay. And so there is no reason why a man who could find a woman who is like, yo, I'm the one who's going to take care of shit. And he's like, yeah, I'm the one who's going to stay at home and be the at-home father, and, and do all that stuff and be taken care of. If both parties are happy, all good. But if you are a man who is claiming to be king and still wanting to be seen as that, and saying, I'm going to go out and, go build wealth and all that good stuff. If you are that person and you have not done it yet, then you cannot, your own principles, you cannot now say, I haven't met my principles, the things that I'm looking for. And so therefore you are overreacting. And so that's one thing. But I think women have always been supportive. In the beginning of relationships, they are much more supportive, but that's because they are giving you the time. It's like, I understand you are not going to be wealthy, at 22. You're going to go put in the work. And I'm giving you that time to go put in the work. So I'm going to support you in that. And at some point, it's like, where the fuck is the money? Where the fuck is all this shit that you're supposed to help me get to show that I'm great, right? And so I think it's valid. I think it's valid. What I don't like with respect to what happens is that we don't understand why. And the reason why it's happening is because we don't understand. This is the reason why I'm doing this episode. We don't understand why it is. And that this episode and the What Men Have to Deal With episode 2, we don't understand why it is that our men, especially, but men are not necessarily succeeding, and therefore, giving the women and themselves the things that they themselves want. Everybody wants to say, I can tell a woman to just throw it in the bag. You can get whatever you want. Who doesn't want to be that? Who doesn't want to do that? But why is that not happening? And so I think men need to understand that for themselves, and so that they can combat that either from the point that they are at right now, 40 plus, or, you are going to relay that to the younger people so that at 20, when their women are saying, yo, I think I need you to do what you need to go do, then they can actually go do it. Now, there's a caveat to that. I'm going to speak about it a little bit more later, but so that's why we don't understand what the heck is happening. And so in the What Men Have to Deal With episode, I said, part of that is fear. Like the weight is put on our shoulders, and we're the ones who have to succeed. And so, we're not given the same leeway of failure because you were supposed to succeed, this manliness and all that good stuff. And so we then fear failure, and failure is the number one thing needed to actually succeed. And whereas women, they deal with not being seen as for the most part. And let me just say, I'm speaking generally, because I know there's going to be people in there who's like, I don't know, like I'm speaking generally. If I was to speak on every single nuance and every single exception in every single situation, I wouldn't be able to have a conversation. So it wouldn't happen. So generally, women, for the most part, they're told that they cannot operate in a particular realm, right? And so it's not their issue. Is now they got to go and fight the insecure or inferiority complex of you don't belong here. Men, on the other hand, are fighting the I cannot fail. Like the you don't belong thing is much better situation in my mind, because it's like, now I'm going to prove to you that I do. Yeah, I'm going to fail. And now I'm going to come back up. But now if you can't even fail, shit, I'd much rather not even put myself in a situation where that could happen. And so that's one of the reasons that's happening to, a lot of men. The other, and this is the one that I want to dwell on today here, is it is essentially the fact that we want. Oh, no, the fact it's not essentially. All right, let me just step back a little bit. Part of it is the fact that we actually get women. And so women in a certain way helps mess that up. But I'm going to go into that. But before I do, let me go back to another thing that I watched that allowed me to start making some of these connections. So Alex Hormozy's wife, Layla Hormozy. If you guys know any of these folks, you probably know who I'm talking about. Layla Hormozy has these shorts. I follow both of them on YouTube, and she has these shorts. And one of the shorts, she was like, she had gotten arrested when she was younger, much younger. She's young now, young multimillionaire. She was talking about how she got arrested multiple times. I think she said 6 times, and then the last time she got arrested, she was brought home to her parents, her father, who was so disappointed and all that good stuff. She's like, man, what the hell am I going to do? Like, I can't have this happen again. They've basically given me a slap on the wrist, something that perhaps, black men would not be able to get. because we're a threat. You probably don't get that slap on the wrist. Black women too, but definitely black men. But in any case, I've gotten a slap on the wrist 6 times. What the hell am I going? Like, I can't keep doing this. And this was her reason to change. Here's why I'm going to go do what is necessary to be successful. I can't be this person anymore. At some point in life, people make a decision. It's so different for different people. But ultimately, it's about making that decision. I am ready to go through the pain of rejection, the pain of judgment, the pain of not knowing, therefore the pain of uncertainty, and the pain of having to get my ass up and work hard to get to the point that I want to get to become the person I want to become. At some point, we make that decision. For me, I talked about this in the episode about what men have to deal with. For me, is a combination of my wife wanting to leave and her starting to pursue her own thing, and me saying, whoa, what is going on? And then I'm definitely not going to get left behind. I'm going to go do something about it. And then, some things that, she was reading, I was reading, Eckhart Tolle, like revealing some stuff, self-development start to come in for the both of us. And so it was like, and it's also around 40. I think that was some of the things that was happening for both of us too. She's a little younger by 2 years, but I wasn't yet 40, but it was approaching. And so what happens is around that time you start to, I think my theory is you start to recognize your mortality, and you start to say, yo, I don't have that much time left. Yo, I'm 10 years from 50, bro. 50, that's half of 100. Yo, death is coming. And so you start to get serious. And so everybody has their own reasons. And so yours could be a lot earlier, like, Layla, or it's not. Maybe you start to watch this, and this is one of the things that hits you as well. Whatever it is your reason is, you get that reason. And so the reason why this is important is because I have to wonder what it is with so many of our black women that I feel like makes them. You can look at certain statistics, right, in America, like black women are outpacing black men by so much. College matriculation, and graduation, on, starting up businesses, like it's starting to like be out of control. Like, and this is part of the reason why some of these women are like, where are these dudes that are, and who can, provide for me, like, or the Ebony K. Williams saying like, I won't date a bus driver, right? Because women are freaking doing well. And I had to ask, why is that freaking happening? What's causing them? What is causing so many of our black women to make that leap to say, you know what, I gotta go through this pain and become something better? So this is what I theorized. So for women who are typically, supporters of their men, a lot of them, going to school and all that good stuff, they may not get a man right away, especially in the black community. That's one of the things that Ebony K. Williams was also talking about, is how white women go to school and they're looking not just for whatever degree they're getting, they're also looking for that MRS degree, meaning Mrs., meaning they're looking to get married once they get out. But our black women are not, and so there are different factors to that. Obviously, one of them is that they don't have as many black men in colleges as they themselves are increasingly. And so in any case, they are finding themselves not with the men. And so I am going to go and find a man who I'm going to support to become that person who provides all of the things that says I am the shit. He's not there. But I have to have all the different other things that says I am the shit. The shoes, the clothes, the houses now. They're also buying more houses than men as well. And so now they have to be like, okay, I got to go and get that. And so this is one of the reasons I think they are a lot more ambitious. This is also the reason why they push more, right? Because it's like, you need to go and give me this thing. This is why they're supporters, but they're also like they're pushing their men. Like, go out and go and get that. You need to go give me the thing that, says that I have status. Whereas, okay, for a man, we have those things too. But a lot of times, all of those things are to get women. All right. So a man, this is why a man, you'll go into his house for a lot of times and they ain't fucking, like, if he's single, he more likely than not, he's not decorated in any way. Even, this is why, they talk about the metrosexuals, because they're not necessarily concerned about how they look and all that good stuff. None of that stuff is evidence of their status. For men, when they go out and get stuff like the car, so they can ride it around and fucking, obviously the reason why the women are interested is because it shows status and they understand that. But it's because they want to go and get the women for a lot of times. And so, that's the reason why they're doing it. And so the other thing with men too is, even when too many men, again, generalization, there's a lot of dudes out there. It's like, I'm going to go and become, as opposed to I'm going to go get so I can also go get. A lot of things with, so I'm sorry. So it's not even when they want. But the other thing with respect to status is, whether and how you compete with another man. And there are multiple ways that you can compete with another man, right? Like, obviously the top of the top is, I got more money than you. But is it, you can get away with, I can get your girl. Because there's a lot of cornballs. I'm going to say cornballs. Why am I putting it in quotes or whatever? I'm going to say cornballs because why do I want to explain this? Because I think it's, first of all, cornball, whatever quote unquote a cornball is not actually really defined or whatever the case may be. So let's define it. The way I'm going to define cornball is, I don't know this man. But I'm going to use him because the example that is being shown because of what he did is what I'm trying to communicate, is what's happening. Zion Williamson. Clearly, this is a successful human being. He is one of the best athletes in the world. He is a superstar basketball player. He's got dough out his ass, way more than me. But he jumps into the game and now he's essentially, this is the word I'm going to use, is being extorted by women, by porn stars, because, women are really good at being able, women have some fucking skills as far as like interpersonal and the ability to talk and to sway and manipulate, because that is what they have as their strength. They're not physically stronger. So a man will get mad and want to fight. Generally speaking, again, this is like we'll fight and stuff that like we'll get angry, we'll yell. But a woman has had to learn to use her wits because her physical strength is not the biggest thing that is there. Again, generally speaking, and so especially if the woman looks good, I mean. If from the moment from a baby, she's been told how cute she is, and people are falling all over her dad, or everybody's like, oh, you're so cute and all that good stuff, and giving her everything she wants, spoiled, whatever. A lot of them, not all of them, again, generally speaking. And so they get a little older from 13 on when they start looking like they may be adults. You got grown ass freaking dudes like. Doing shit, turning their heads, all that good stuff. And so it becomes, they deal with older people from that age from the beginning. And so they get really skilled at it. So I just wanted to say that. And so you get to a point where, you can have the money. And this is what I mean by Zion Williamson. I don't know. He might not be like that all the time. And he might be, completely smooth, to be honest, and, can get all kinds of women and all that good stuff. But what I mean by cornball is somebody who just essentially is using their money to attract women. And so therefore the women are using them to get the money. It's not like he is actually attractive, or not physically attractive, meaning he can attract the women he's looking for through, mental, like the ability to speak, the ability to be charismatic. He doesn't have those skills. And so therefore, he's also easily susceptible, and he's being used. And so I wanted to make this distinction because although money is huge, it trumps a lot of things. You can get to a situation, and this happens all the time, where men feel better, bigger and better than you because they can sleep with your woman. They can feel good about themselves because they can sleep with women. And they have that ability. And so, I say this because it's very important to understand. What I started with is a lot of times we do what we do, go get the cars and all that stuff, is to get women. And so if you are now skilled at that, and this is the thing too with women who are young, right? Not only are you saying, okay, I see the king in you and I think we can build, what you're probably seeing is a man who is skilled in the art of, what's they call it? Art of picking up women, the pickup artist. That's what you're probably seeing. Somebody who is smooth, who is charismatic, who is like, he seems to be a leader of men because he is one of the more vocal, he's going to go do his own thing. He's got guys, and he's like that. All of that is signaling, oh yeah, this is a guy who can probably, he's confident. I mean, a confident person is likely it's because they're competent, and if not necessarily competent there, he's just going to go and do what is necessary. And all those signals are misguiding you into believing that he's actually the person who can possibly do this, when in fact he's sitting here also scared about the things that need to be done, and also hasn't made the decision yet that he has to go through all of the pain that's necessary to do what you ultimately will need later on, when your charisma is not enough, your sweet talk is not enough. Bro, where is the shit you promised? And so what I tell my daughter is, see somebody within whom you see a king, but make sure that this person is madly in love with you first. And so I actually recommend that they date somebody who's older, and I'm going to recommend the same thing for my son. I recommend the same thing for my son, which is date younger. Wait to build your wealth before you go out and get your woman, because I think what happens is a lot of us get to complacency once we have a woman in our lives who is out here supporting, and we're like, okay, I'm good. I've got the woman. I don't have to go out and do this. I don't have to go and look like, if you're single and you're still out there in the streets and you're young, you're still very ambitious. But we get to the point where it's like, okay, we've settled. And not just, and what I mean by settle is not I settled for the woman, but I want somebody else. But like, I've settled, like I don't have to go out and do anything anymore. I've got the family. I've got the whatchamacallit. Why am I going out here doing way more? And that takes away our not willingness, but our enthusiasm, our motivation for going out and getting it. Whereas we need that. And so for me, like that, women for men are a distraction. It's Samson Delilah. It's Samson Delilah. And obviously not in a literal sense, and not directly, but the idea is that, yes. And this is what I'm like, I needed to tell this story a long way, but ultimately what I'm saying here is like, because, and this is not necessarily always the case. So let me just say, you can find yourself a good woman early and just decide, I'm going to go and continue to do the work. There is no reason why that can't be done. And so therefore, like, my recommendation, I don't know if I really, it's not a, super strong recommendation. Because if you're able and willing to go and do both, then please do. But I think it's still a distraction. If you're just focused on yourself, on building first, getting that financial freedom, then you can go out and, find your woman. And, and so that woman doesn't necessarily have to be younger either. So let me pull that back too. It doesn't have to be younger. Maybe you're at 31, you potentially can go and get a 31-year-old. It's all up to you, really, because the value that you have is the money that you're bringing, and it's going to give you more options. That's just the world that we live in. I didn't make it, so argue with yourself. You can try to change it all you want. I know what it is, not only in the US, but the world over. And then, women also, with the value that they bring, again, argue with yourself, is their youth. They have their marketplace value is much higher when they're younger. Argue with yourself. Prove to me I'm wrong. You can say that that's not the ideal thing. You can want it to be different, but it is what it is. And so I'm not here to tell you which one you should be choosing. I'm here to tell you that it's more likely that you'll be able, if you focus on getting that wealth, as opposed to getting to the point where you got to deal with a woman and also look for the wealth, then, it's going to be harder. Alex and Layla work together to get it done. So it is possible that if you have that, I'm going to go make it work, with a woman who's like, yeah, I'm going to support you to go make it work. You can get it done if you can find that. But the biggest thing that you need to recognize, and the point that I'm making in this episode, is that we don't see that what's happening is that we are settling because we found a woman and we're like, we're good. Because we also don't see that a lot of what we actually are doing is to go get women. And so therefore we never hit that, we don't hit it in the time that we need to, that it's going to matter. Such that now you're at 40 trying to still, go through the pain that is required for you to get there. And so what I say to my 40-year-old women who are out there like, you're not there yet, is, you either have two choices. Leave at 40. Like I said, the marketplace is a lot harder, but I know, like, we have a friend who just got remarried to some dude who's got some cash, from what I hear. And so it's possible out there. Like, the women, like I said, women got skills. Like, they know how to talk the good game and all that good stuff. If you can find somebody who's willing to go and do that, go, more power to you. But I'm telling you what the marketplace is. And so you can play, you can gamble and play the odds all you want, but, you can do that. That's an option. If you don't love your man that much, quote unquote, but more than if you don't love your man that much. Now that's probably unfair. If he doesn't seem to be trying, and this is the thing with respect to this man, is like, the dude is out here putting in work. He may not be perfect. He may not be, doing he doesn't see all those things. I was telling you, they don't decorate the house because it's not the thing that I'm used to going and go do. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that he's probably not thinking about. And yes, it is his job to sit there and say, how can I learn from you and all the shit that you are looking at and thinking this is important, how this looks is important, because it's signaling to you your value that you're bringing. How can I learn that? It's his job to go and do that. But the idea that he's going to freaking know it tomorrow when it took you your entire life is ridiculous. He is going to take as much time, now that we have brought it to his intention, it's going to take years for him to get there, number one, of recognizing all the different things that you want. It's going to take him years of working through what any entrepreneur, anybody looking to succeed in any realm would do to get there. Your job is to then, if you're not leaving, be understanding of that and say, I see you working, what else do you need? And sometimes when he's not doing enough, be like, yo, I think you can do more, in a loving way. Sometimes you need to kick his ass. I don't know exactly when that is, but we need way more support and way more understanding from women. And men, we need way more of you looking and saying, yo, what can I learn from this woman and the things that she focuses on and the things that she's trying to do and her willingness to try and fail. We need to do that together. We're in this together. Like Layla and Alex, like Bola and Mac. Let's go out here and build generational wealth, everybody. This is the episode 11 kilometers per second. Take it easy.